That's kind of how I've often seen how psychedelics work. It's like the aperture of your mind, not necessarily like your visual side of things, but your mind is just like taking in more information, and the mental filter is actually opening up. Travel is essential. You have to get out of the studio, have to go into nature, you have to go to the place to honestly respond to it. I feel like there's something in experiencing and then responding to that land and then how that made you feel and then putting that into the art. Probably one of my biggest fears is like being stagnant, going through the motions and it's all just the same. I was like, this, whatever the current situation is, isn't working for me. So I just need to change that. And I just need to like free up everything and like creating some radical change or just like sticking a stick in the spokes just to like, cool, what am I doing? Like you have to make space.
Before we get into this episode, I just want to thank you for being here. I started this podcast to spark conversations that inspire, creatively, personally, and everything in between. So if you'd like to support that mission, the best way is to hit that subscribe or follow button wherever you're watching or listening to this. That'll help other creative minds discover us and also ensures that you won't miss any of the incredible guests that we've got coming up. Because when this passion is shared, it grows exponentially. So thank you, and now let's get stuck into it. Speaking of doing well for yourselves, dude, that exhibition, Euphorica.
Oh, geez, man. Thanks.
Lots of dots.
Yeah, I know. I was blown away. Hey, it was a very good opening. So
I'm just gonna pump your tires for a bit because when I went, I was right at the point where it was just a day before it finished up as well. So it was great because I got to experience it just all by myself.
Yeah, nice.
I had the space to myself, like right when the gallery opened as well in the morning. And it was one of those ones where I would walk in, see the pieces that I was really familiar with. I've seen them just being shared on social. Seeing them up close was like, wow. They were big wow pieces.
Oh, thank you. That's very kind of you.
I would see one, go up to it, study it for a few minutes, turn around, see another one like, wow. Go to that and study that for a little while and then turn back and see that original piece again, the first piece, and it would just be just as captivating, like, fuck, all right, I've got to go check this one out again. They were impressive, man, like really, really impressive pieces, and they looked impressive in social media, but to see them up in real life, it was just a whole different level because I could just see that every single stroke had intention and purpose behind it.
Yeah, maybe that's to a fault, actually. That's why it just takes so fucking long.
I bet, man. I bet.
They're quite painstaking to make some of them.
And they weren't little pieces either, man. I mean, like there was maybe about 3-4 of them that were over a meter, 1.2 plus.
Yeah.
So yeah, they take a minute.
Yeah, for sure.
How long did it take you from start to finish?
Well, probably was working on that for about a year, a bit less than a year, but about at least 10, maybe 11 months. But I actually started on this really huge work because I was just like, I want to get a really large work and demand everyone's attention kind of thing. So it was like a diptych, which is like 2 canvases, and it was, I think, 1.8 by 4.4. So I was initially trying to treat it like a mural so I could do work large and work fast as well. And I did the base in all the kind of house paints like I would a mural. And then the oils came out and the tiny, tiny brushes came out, and I ended up spending about 3 months on that. And then I was like, shit, I got to ditch this piece because this is taking so much time. And like, I've still not got a single finished work. So I kind of like scrapped that, still in my studio, bought like 8 huge canvases, started that, realizing that I'd chewed into a lot of my time, had to reconfigure the show again. So then I bought like some small canvases. So that's why there was some small work, which actually worked out much better because the space it was in isn't a huge space. So I think the final configuration actually worked out. There was a lot of, but yeah, I mean, I've been painting the Flinders Ranges now for well over a year, and only just kind of showing them now. So.
Do you go out and take your own shots?
Yeah. I mean, that's like a great thing about well, the kind of system or the style of work I do is just like travel is essential.
Yeah.
You have to get out of the studio, have to go into nature. I've kind of made like a little rule for myself with the works on canvases, more my studio practice, less so with the mural stuff, but you have to go to the place to honestly respond to it. Yeah, you can apply the method that I do and put different colors on kind of any landscape for sure, but I feel like there's something in experiencing and then responding to that land and then how that made you feel and then putting that into the art is much more valuable, I think.
That's something I want to get into it, about having various experiences that you inject into your work. But before we depart this, I want to speak more about Euphorica. But it's interesting that you say that like the part of the art that you create is having to experience not just the making of it, but just, I guess, like the pre-production part of it.
Yep.
Do you go in with an idea of how you're going to arrange it, even just like the color schemes? It's like a signature of yours to have, I don't know, what would you call it? A bit of a it was very fitting with this. It felt like a bit of an acid trip. Right, like just having
That's what we like
the
to hear.
The psychedelic color palette.
Yeah,
I think that would probably be the best way of describing it. Do you see that already?
I mean, no, not really, but I definitely taking psychedelics helps with kind of.
So you're going out to Flinders Ranges having microdosing?
Not microdosing.
I was just trying to be a bit.
I'd say more macrodosing. I went out.
And is that what you saw?
I mean, not really. Like, I mean, I've done a lot of psychedelics. I love the things. So yeah, there's always like an element of bringing that, crazy colors, or I mean, often there'll be different kind of shapes or things kind of that might be floating around in the visual sphere. But I guess like with the colors, what I'm trying to do is like create that that bridge, or not the bridge, that kind of like the acid experience back into it, and on. Less so, it used to be much more about psychedelia, and now I think the psychedelia, it's actually more about nature, but the enhanced feeling, the emotional reaction, which I think psychedelics do work beautifully to help with that. You'll go to a national park and you'll see people roll in buses, they'll take photos and then disappear, and doesn't really look like they got much from it. And then other people will camp and, stay under the stars and, take in the smells and the feels and really like ground themselves in the land and get to know it. So like, a lot of people can see the exact same thing and have a very different experience.
Sure.
And I think, there's nothing better than taking psychedelics in the natural world. It just heightens everything. It just makes you feel very connected.
Given you're in the right headspace for it as well.
Yeah, of course.
I see what you're saying about how like your work, because there has been a bit of a transition, and you're right. This one here, this Euphorica, was definitely a lot more focused on the landscape, and it did feel like that the psychedelicness was dialed down.
Yeah,
a touch where it was,
my wife said that too. Yeah,
the colors were there, but I think it was just more. There was some sort of
bit more gentle.
Yeah, that's the right way of putting it.
Yeah. My wife was saying that as well. Like these colors are a bit more, they're definitely not normal colors. Like the skies are green and a lot of the
rocks are purple.
Yeah, exactly. Rocks are purple and stuff. But it does seem a bit more grounded in reality, which I think that's a lot of the time what it's like when you're on acid. It's not that DMT crazy tripped out thing. It's just a bit more extra.
It's like things are just that they're enhanced.
Yeah.
There's this weird way of, I remember like at Meredith and just having conversations with people that it was almost like you're looking through a camera lens with a large aperture. Right? So it's like look through a large aperture, right? So there's this nice background blur and the colors is like the lighting is just all, it gets a little bit more saturated. Things are a bit sharper and a bit clearer.
Yeah.
So that's kind of
I love that analogy because that's kind of how I've often seen how psychedelics work. It's like the aperture of your mind, not necessarily like your visual side of things, but your mind is just like taking in more information. And a big part of that is visual, but there's also the emotional response, and there's the smells. Everything's just like much more. And that can be really intense for some people. But I think it was Aldous Huxley in Doors of Perception was describing it that way. Like the mental filter is actually opening up.
That's a good point, man. Like there's a big conversation to be had about psychedelics and creativity, because the way that we think just day to day, especially as we're just going through life, there's all these labels and filters that we're constantly having to view the world through, right? Like, we have to just out of necessity, we categorize a lot of things. Like, is this safe, not safe, good, bad? Is this helpful or not? And, we just do this with everything.
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
For sure.
So to be able to break down those walls and to be a little less risk adverse and to be a lot more vulnerable and to take more information in, I think that's one of the things that's underestimated with psychedelics.
Yeah.
Even like LSD, one thing, mushrooms, it has to be for a reason that they exist in that way, and not just exist in that way, that we react to them in that way as well.
Totally.
That's just
100%.
It's fucking bonkers.
Yeah, I often wonder, does every animal have that experience? Because like when you pick them, there's all these little worms in them sometimes if they're a little old. And I'm like, do they metabolize? Are they just tripping? Is their life tripping?
Have you gone picking?
Yeah, plenty of times. Yep.
Years ago, right, I went and we found a lot of the mushroom heads were gone.
Yeah.
And what we suspect was that like foxes or whatever wildlife would just come and help themselves to it. So they have to get something out of it as well. It wouldn't just be for sustenance.
Yeah.
Because I don't think really there is much sustenance in them.
Probably not.
No,
I wouldn't know actually. haven't studied that part of.
But yeah, man, like it does, like just how we react to some of these like naturally formed drugs. How we have certain receptors to react in the way that we react to it. It's almost like it's criminal to not explore that more and to not even try or indulge in it a little bit, just to see what comes of it. Because like why does it do that?
I see it as like little Easter eggs, as we were saying earlier.
Easter eggs,
just like, and everything's normal, but maybe we'll just sprinkle a little clue, a little mystery of the divine in there for those who want to see
But take
it.
that one, but not that one. This one will be fine.
Yeah.
This one will kill you. And they look more or less the same.
Yeah. I actually don't like what the purpose of the psychoactive, compound of a lot of these plant medicines. Like, even like DMT, like it's in us, it's in so much of nature, and the jury's still not out on why. They don't, there's a lot of people suspect, I think the scientific consensus is they suspect it's, I could be wrong on this because it's always developing and there's a lot more research happening now, but they suspect it's released in dreaming, and they suspect it's released flooded when you die. And that's kind of part of the transition period. But we still don't really know what the hell these, the purpose of these chemicals.
We don't, and I think that there's still so much about those chemicals aside. The chemicals within us aside, but how they're being induced by other means. That aside, I think there's still so much about like the human body and the human psyche that is not at all understood. I was listening to a podcast, Diary CEO. Do you listen to that much at all?
Oh, I think I've heard one or two of them. Yeah, I've been sent some from a friend.
One that you really like, I think it just came out not that long ago, with the psychologist Tara Swart. She is a neuroscientist or psychologist. This particular episode was on her proposal that there is, she said to 100% degree of certainty that we can connect with the afterlife. And I was like, okay, well, all right, sure. That's fine. She provided no evidence for that other than the fact that there is so much about us and our how we are so cut off from engaging fully with our senses. not even the five senses. She says that we have 34 senses, but we are only attuned to the five common ones.
Mm-hmm.
And then she went on to explain that part of the problem with the way that we live in society, especially Western society, is this sense of individualism. And then when you have this sense of individualism, you're disconnected from even just the next person. You see yourself as a separate entity, fair enough, but there is this disconnect with literally everything else. And she says that what we need to go back is to understand that we are part of this greater network of connectivity with other like species, people, animals, flora, fauna, the whole works, just universally, that there needs to be a better understanding on an individual level that we are connected in that way. And to allow us just also tap into the different senses to be able to understand everything more and better.
Yeah, I mean, I believe it. I haven't heard that podcast or know about the 34 senses, but I believe it. I mean, our kind of current models seem to be the more we're learning, I don't know, we just seem to be learning and information is changing and exponential growth. It's just like, I mean, there's definitely more than five senses, I would imagine. And I totally buy into the everything's connected narrative through certain experiences I've had and stuff.
Well, maybe that's what I was getting at. Maybe that was like the point of having these psychedelics around, is just, that little kind of tether back to, and just allowing it's just that window, just to, I guess, like an easy access rather than us having to constantly just be in that frame of mind, that there's a way just to tap into it and be like, oh, you know what? Yeah, maybe this is actually one way of understanding the world or reality. Yeah. That it's not as you see it now. Because it is sort of stunted.
I think that's definitely the case. I think even a lot of scientists would agree completely, not even with the psychedelic angle, that reality is completely not as we see. It's just all filtered through our limited senses and reshuffled and made sense of. There's a lot of interesting. I listened to a lot of interesting podcasts recently on simulation theory, which I used to completely reject, but again, I just didn't buy it. But obviously seeing how things are like progressing, and again, some experiences I've had peeked through the veil a little bit. Like, I don't know. There's a lot of the way that these simulation scientists were kind of explaining it is it's all information and it's just all an interface that some kind of intelligence is created to organize and compartmentalize and put all those ones and zeros or whatever the information is to.
Well, we have the infrastructure there already, and you're looking at the trajectory of where technology is going. Like, it may even just be in our lifetime, but it does blow me away if you're going to dismiss it, right? That theory is like, fair enough. It can't be proven, can't really be disproven. It is what it is. Just the idea of, like, for example, sight, right? Yeah. And I'm seeing a picture right now of you in my head and trying to make sense of that, where I just accept it. It's like, oh yeah, I'm sitting across from Jack and I can see him. It's like, what does seeing him mean? Yeah. Like, you're forming a picture in your brain and it's just there.
100%. You've got bats that are blind that completely create similar imagery, I imagine, through sonar, which is sound. And they are their brain would be piecing together kind of a map. I have no idea if it's as accurate as ours, but same with like whales. And there's a lot of different methods of. I also think that with like deer, a friend of mine's a hunter, and like a deer's sense of smell is just so intense. They can smell you from k's away, I think. Yeah.
Like a bear. Like, if a bear smells you from 3 k's away, it's like, you're gone, man.
Yeah, I just try to conceptualize that, like what a sense of smell that high would be, and whether or not that would actually be like, okay, I know that there's something, a kilometer away there. I know there's nothing, whether it's actually kind of mapping out a somewhat of a picture in their head of which way to go, just because of how heightened the sense is. I mean, I've got no idea. I was just conceptualizing what it would be like to have a sense of smell that strong, and kind of conclude it would probably give you some form of a map in your mind.
Or even like having different set of eyes. Where I think I was reading this thing where they're developing this almost like a new retina of sorts that is able to perceive imagery 3 times sharper than what we can see now.
Oh, really?
But then I'm
Like an artificial retina?
yeah,
cool.
but I'm like, what does that even mean, right? Like, I can't picture that in my head.
Yeah.
But then,
Ask an eagle.
well, yeah, and can my brain even render that? You know, like, would it be able to know how to render 3 times sharper?
Yeah.
Like, as it is, like, even just doing that, there's motion blur, right? Like, how is
yeah.
my brain going to be able to separate that, all those individual frames, and add in another 30 frames?
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting, like you say, with can the brain process that? Because I think there's this really interesting thing about the mantis shrimp. Have you seen the mantis shrimp?
Yeah.
And they've got, I think we've got something like, I might butcher this, but I think we've got something like 3 cone receptors in
the
our eyes.
RGB.
And then I think some birds have like 4. So I think they can start seeing on the spectrums of ultraviolet and infrared. Kind of expands the light field of what they can take in. But then you've got something like the mantis shrimp that has, I think, 23 or 24 cone receptors, which is like a huge leap from what we've got. So everyone, was online was saying, like, imagine what they can see. But then I read this other thing saying, well, yeah, they can. However, their brain is so limited that the processing of that wouldn't necessarily be as high tech as we would think when you see 23, 24 cone receptors. So yeah, that's an interesting thing to consider as well. Yeah.
And I've thought even with color, right? The relationship with color. So looking at back to Euphorica, your pieces, how there seems to be, like, the best way to explain it for people that don't quite get the vividness of the color or the use of color. It's almost like if you had a landscape shot and you adjusted the hue and you just fucked around with the dial until you got to a certain point where terrain is purple, skies are greens, and it just seems quite alien. I've wondered though, like, I don't know what you see, you don't know what I see. And if I said to you, that's blue, and you will agree that's blue, but your blue could be pink.
Yeah.
And I would not. There's no way to know that. Like, for me,
True,
like
very
skin
true.
tone, this could be some sort of, green, relative green through your eyes, but there's no way to know.
Yeah, for sure. I guess there really is no way to know.
So yeah, so like looking at your paintings, like maybe someone could be like, oh yeah, no, I get that.
Yeah. I mean, no, I don't see the skies as green, and like it's definitely a bit of there's some creative choices that's coming in, but I kind of see color a bit like a language. It's like able to dictate certain feelings or emotional responses. So yeah, I kind of do have it's funny you're describing it, giving away my process.
Got it.
No. I mean, there's a big digital element in the beginning where take all the photos and then play around on Photoshop, but not quite just altering the hue, but just really just playing, and for ages. There's no one real like set thing that works. It's just you just keep playing until the colors really sing together, and just really kind of, I guess, I don't know, just intuitively know, that's what I'm trying to capture. That's how I felt, or that's what that area gave me. So
right. So it is the colors that you're adding to the images is representative of how you felt when you were in that environment.
Yeah, or at least what I'm trying to make others feel or guide them, or I mean, so I think the last exhibition you could see a very stark contrast, still landscapes, but it was much more like sci-fi rather than psychedelic. It was dark. It was based on a landscape called Lake Mungo, which is in New South Wales, kind of close to Mildura, and it's just this like eroded, a very alien moonscapey like landscape, and kind of I'd seen photos and I'm like, wow, it's like you're on Mars or like being on the moon. So part of that was like, okay, well, you can use color to emphasize that.
What's that? Sorry, was that the one that was just under the starry nights?
So it was all like kind of black and skies and stuff, and they were colorful, but it was the much more muted, I guess muted. yeah, I mean they were kind of colorful, but yeah, not like euphoric ones. So yeah, I mean the part of that was using color to illustrate the sense of yeah, some kind of sci-fi. It was like,
Yeah.
is this the world after we've left it completely barren, or have we actually left planet Earth in the future to discover new terrains? It was just kind of using color to create an atmosphere that would try and raise those kinds of things. So in contrast to that, this new body of work was, I was like, do I keep going down that road? And I was like, no, I kind of just want to be very uplifting, and there's a lot to be very pessimistic about in today's current climate with choose your subject. Technology, politics, war, and I think it's one of those things where back to basics, this planet is amazing. It's really easy to hate on the current predicament or hate on ourselves. Like, how are we still stuck on these things in this time? And when you go into nature, and I really love the desert landscapes and things like that. But when you go the current human drama, it does after a few days seem to just drift away. Time, needing to check your phone or social media slowly drifts away, and there's a beautiful, I don't know, it's a great reset. It's a beautiful reminder of, I don't know, just our place in this small moment of time in this seemingly timeless world, like these rocky hills have been here for millions of years before us and millions of years after. And something beautiful about that. I love that. So I was, very much trying to emphasize that, I don't know, kind of contemplative, happy, uplifting, sweet, nice feeling that I tend to get from removing myself and going for an adventure into the most beautiful parts of the world or the country.
Yeah, it also reminds you that once, like, when you touch on drama and you're talking about the drama and everything that humanity has created, it's a reminder that, like, the planet doesn't give a shit.
The planet,
It doesn't care. It's going to be here well after we are. And once all is said and done and we have reached the point of no return, that the Earth is still much greater. It can take more hits than we can give it. One way or another, it's a lot more resilient than we are. And, like, I think I hadn't considered that, but it makes sense. Like, when you look at your work, the common theme across all of it, even though you have changed the narrative, it shows how grand, not quite grand, but impressive. I think how impressive nature is.
Yeah.
And because you're not just showing it in its natural form, right? It's almost like a dressage of it. You're decorating it and you have these, and you're enhancing it in a way, almost like a dramatization of it, and just being like, check this shit. Like, this. So that's a good point. And I think that's probably something that makes sense, that, we don't consider when we're, and I'd certainly, like, when looking at your pieces, there was that wow factor. And I hadn't considered that part of that wow factor was also just like the insignificance of me and all my bullshit. And now that you mention it, it makes a lot of sense now. I get that. When you say that, like, part of the work is having to experience it, have you done any work where you actually haven't gone on site and to soak it up? And
heaps.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot with my mural work as well, because I often have to deal, almost always with mural jobs. If they're paid jobs, you got to deal with a brief and things, and sometimes
and it's a composition. You just got to work with that format. So
yeah, exactly. I mean, I still will try and draw from things I've seen, but every now and then, like how I approach a body of work, like an exhibition and a coherent body of work where all the works somewhat relate to each other, is a bit different, and in a way there are a lot more limits in that way, like for just exploring other things that I want to do. So yeah, I think there's one near my house where I just painted, like, I think it's the Matterhorn, just this big mountain covered in ominous red smoke. I just had an idea and just wanted to get it out. So that didn't really fit with a body of work, and I haven't been to the Matterhorn, but it was like an idea I had. So the mural space does allow me a bit more freedom because there's a beauty in experiencing everything. There's limits in that, and you can only draw from, if you set rules for yourself, you can only draw from what you've experienced. So goods and bads. But yeah, so I have done plenty of works where I've bodies of works like an exhibition. I tend not to do that at all.
That'll just be part of your particular process.
Yeah.
And I wonder, like, that's probably something that isn't done enough. Not just like engaging specifically for an exhibition where you want to be immersed in the environment. Yours is landscape, so it makes sense just to be in that environment and just to really soak it up, spend a bit of time there, see how it resonates with you, and then you can start contemplating how you're going to be creating and getting that out. But then I wonder, like, how many people consider other experiences and other influences that come into the work, because we just touched on a whole bunch of different considerations and different like external life experiences that you would then want to layer in to your work, because you got your podcast hiatus at the moment.
Yep.
But that is pretty far removed from your practice.
Very far
as an artist.
Yeah.
I guess somewhat, like on paper it is pretty far removed, but then that's what I'm getting at, is that a lot of the interests that you have outside of your work naturally will come back into your work.
Yeah. Yep.
Like the idea of trying to capture trying to capture nature through a psychedelic lens, because that psychedelic lens lends you an opportunity to open up your sensory scape to appreciate it in a different way. And then that connects directly to your podcast.
Yeah. Yeah. The podcast has done a lot of, really wonderful things for opening the way I think about certain things, or
the world, man, like it just gives you
100%,
gives you a different appreciation for humanity. It's like just to see fucking how broad of a spectrum that we are as people.
For sure. And also, like the art practice only really, like, it's my main thing. It's my main, like, calling, but it also only scratches one itch, like got a lot of interests outside of psychedelic landscapes, you know what I mean? And a lot of the times where I've tried to, probably more in my younger years, like put in weird concepts into my art, a lot of the time they come out looking, I've never finished any, but they might come out looking a bit cheesy or a bit on the nose, or I don't know, just not very sophisticated. And not everything has to be in a painting, you know what I mean? Not every idea that I'm interested in, I've kind of learned over time, has to be a painting. There's many, many mediums, and the podcast has been a really fun one to just explore other things. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of like psychedelic art, for instance, that's some that's done just so much better. I mean, like someone like Alex Gray, kind of like a very obvious example, but he's captured the DMT realm far greater than I could ever attempt to. So early days I was trying to play around with that and it just wasn't doing it. So I just never went there. And I just decided that going hard down the psychedelic route, there's so much of that anyway. So why blend in? It's better to kind of just carve out your own experience or viewpoint from that.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I get that. And there's, when you say that only scratches that one itch, I think there is an important part with creativity. There is the interconnectedness, back to that, right? Like learning from other people. Yeah. And painting can be pretty isolating.
Yeah,
practice.
Totally. And I'm kind of a bit more extroverted in my personality, so it's a very, I struggle actually. Towards the end of a show, I'm going crazy. I'm not wanting to be there. It's like in the studio, it's a lot to just be in a room for the majority of your time, especially when you're painting the natural world and the work's about getting out into the world and seeing these grand, beautiful things. And a lot of the time I'm in a studio, not going to the natural world because I got to get this shit done. So there's definitely like a funny balance there that the art.
The irony.
Yeah, I know, right? I've been battling with that in the last couple of years, actually. Just like I want to just want to see more, want to go more, but go to more places. But you know,
I have an open air studio.
Yeah, I mean, there's
portable studio and just go.
An artist friend of mine, Juan Ford. He's amazing artist. But he's like, I feel like it was a lot of it in response to the digital, uprising that we're currently in, or artificial intelligence uprising. He just goes out and does a lot of plein air painting. A lot of the tattooists from Compendium Studios that I'm friends with as well. Chris, he goes out and does on plein air painting, takes a canvas, gets into nature, paints, and it's good. I've actually never done that. Actually never done on plein air painting as a landscape painter, which is also kind of funny and ironic. But it's good. It's a good thing to do.
You should do it, man. Just pack up some canvases.
Yeah, just do quick throwaways.
Take some mushrooms, and whatever comes of it, comes of it.
For sure.
Have you ever leaned into doing something that was quite surreal and that just like a Dali, where it's like, dude, you're on acid?
Yeah, for sure. I've done some little experimental ones. I was playing around with a lot more ideas in my 20s, and a lot of sketches and mock-ups, and a lot of them they're pretty bad. But yeah, I mean, there's one I did a few years ago of just like full melty skies, and I think this little Japan series I did a lot of paint pouring. I saw like there's a lot of like hobby artists that do paint pouring, and I was just like, there's a really cool element to that I wanted to like just use as a small part. So I just started doing these like what a lot of these hobby artists were doing, and then painting a lot of detail on top. It. Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
And, that was like fun, a bit more trippy, like lucid, kind of 60s vibes, 60s psychedelic vibes. So yeah, there's been some experiments, some more successful than others for sure.
Because your work is pretty controlled, man.
Super controlled. Yeah,
like,
I know.
Really meticulous.
I'm very jealous of like artists who are just like real free drawers, like you just give them a pencil and a pad and they're just like creating worlds. Or a friend of mine, Ben Lopez or Brian Itch, they're both like incredible drawers.
Yeah.
You just look through
this. Ben Lopez, he does tattoos as well.
Yep. But you look through their sketchbooks and it's so cool. And there's something so cool about seeing that raw drawing process. For me, I even like looking at that stuff more than really polished pieces. Like I was always a drawer, and I really love drawing. I don't draw at all anymore since my finding my painting voice, and then replacing the drawing process with the digital, photos and digital and stuff.
Yeah.
I really don't draw at all anymore. I hate to admit, because I was always a manic drawer, but I've got a lot of respect for drawers, and there's something pure about just like ideas and
dumping it.
Yeah, and then like combining that with skills that these people have finely tuned over decades, like Brian or Ben or something, or I mean, plenty of others. It's really, really magical, I think, to see those.
I agree, man. I think there's a particular hurdle and a rhythm that you need to get into that doesn't take long. I don't think. This is someone that has ditched that practice as well. I was speaking with Tom Gerard, and many times he's kind of just reminded me, it's like, dude, just practice, daily practice, just pen to paper every day. And I pass it on to my son. So I bought a shitload of these little field notebooks with the ambition of filling them all. And I got 3 or 4 pages into one of them. And and left that. But then,
sounds like my exercise routine.
I mean, that's routines for many people, right?
Yeah,
like just forming habits.
Routine. Yeah,
forming habits and just get to the point where it's just muscle memory.
Yep.
But anyway, so I've kind of just taken that advice and passed it on to my son, and he's really good at just free drawing and just going for it and just doing the imagination dump. And because he's 9, and I think he's like ripe at that point before he starts learning about constraints. Before people start telling you can't do this, you got to do it this way or that way. It's like no, man, just do it, and you'll figure it out.
Yep.
And just get all these ideas out of your brain. And this is one of the advantages of, and you'll soon see this, is that the access that kids have these days to all kinds of media, that their imagination can go wild to the point where you now have to start like really reining that in and curbing.
I imagine.
So that's a challenge that you're going to have. But the flip side of that is that having access to all these, just the level of creativity, and your boy's going to have to be creative. Like there's no escaping that in your household.
Yeah, me and the wife joke that he'll rebel and become an accountant.
Maybe.
And we're all for it, you know. we know what it's like. We know what it's like being an artist. It's brutal out there. So rebel against the creative genes.
Yeah, go get a degree, man.
Yeah, exactly.
It could be that. It could definitely be that. But you know, bringing a bit of creativity and numbers play could be a pretty good accountant for you guys.
Yeah, exactly. Help us. We need help.
Yeah, so there is now this whole, I guess, like the next generation of artists that, especially with iPads, right? That there's just so many things that you can do. It's endless.
I mean, iPads are great though, because I don't really draw on one, but another friend of mine, Christian Vine, another fantastic artist, but yeah, he's just always drawing on his iPad, but you can smash in the color so quickly, you know, you can create a gradient, you can build, you can use those, the tools, which usually you might have to use colored pencils or oil pastels or chalk pastels or paints, and just to get a little sketch out, whereas an iPad, you can actually get that coloring, get the textures in, like it is pretty good, I think.
There are degrees though, because I think there is still, I could be wrong in saying this, but I think there is still value in doing things the hard way. And I don't mean that strictly as a rule of thumb, right? As in that if you want to learn, you have to do everything the hard way. I don't mean that. But I think with the iPad, it gets to a certain point for me, and I think it's crossed that threshold where it's no longer you in control of it. Like I've seen some brushes where like if you want to get a particular effect, it will automate too much.
Yeah, I guess it depends how deep you're going on the tech side of it. Like
even something like it'll clean up your lines, right?
Yeah.
Like instead of trying to spend the time to work out your stroke and to just
takes away that human touch.
Takes away the human touch. Yeah, absolutely. But not even just the human touch, but there is something in developing processes, and you know, you are right. It is a human touch because it is just the imperfections of the work, and you could spend your time trying to clean up and make things look cleaner and perfect. But there's also lessons to be learned in that practice, in the years of figuring out your stroke.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's just removed all that, and it's made it pretty novice that you have an accomplished artist versus someone who's just starting off. Skill-wise, technical-wise, they're almost on par. Then it really just comes down to just the creative prowess, just what's coming out from here. But then in some cases, that can be automated as well.
Yeah. There's like a fine balance. Like, again, I took a year to do 10 paintings. And, you know, some artists who are really, really fast, you can get a lot more ideas out in that time.
Yeah.
You know, a lot more ideas. You can get 50, 100 paintings if you're a fast-moving artist. So there are restrictions about taking so long and how many actual ideas or things that you want to get out. But, I mean, it's not surprising. I love good craftsmanship. I love artists that take time with their craft and hone in their craft and really value that. Like I always do. It's not to say that art is about craftsmanship and finally honing like technical ability. There's a lot of abstract art, a lot of all sorts of art, naive art, outsider art, all sorts of stuff that doesn't necessarily focus on honing those like technical skills that I love. But for me personally, and a lot of the art that I do like, I just always really like that kind of craftsmanship. But yeah,
you are right. I had Sam Octagon on. Do you know Sam?
I don't, but I went to Backwards and saw his show.
Yes.
Yep.
Anyway, so you're familiar with just that latest one?
Yep.
So he kind of like just went through this process of evolving his style because his work was bordering on hyperreal, very
Yep.
early on, maybe about a decade or so ago.
Yep.
And it evolved, and there was abstract elements in it. So there was this balance of having realistic elements and abstract elements in there. But much like your work, was really meticulous and highly detailed. And he, as much as he enjoyed that process, what he found was the time it took was stifling, right? Like,
Right.
and that was more of the line in the sand, where it's like, I need to figure out a way to convey what it is I want, and to do it in less time, because I just want to almost like dump these ideas and just get them out.
Sure. Exactly what I'm getting at. And that can be really frustrating, I think, for a lot of technical artists, because especially if you've got a lot of ideas that you want to get out, and over polishing something doesn't necessarily make it better as well, depending on what you're doing. Like, there's a lot of hyper realistic artists that can replicate, photography, really. Like, it's very hard to distinguish, but some of the subject matters they may choose are pretty like, why? Like, I can think of very, very, very skilled hyper realistic paintings that I would never, like, I don't like the work. I wouldn't choose to paint that. It's a funny thing to choose to paint, but people do. And
just a random object and make it replicate.
I mean, whatever. I mean, if you're not adding your spin on it at all, there is the question of why, which a lot of artists hate that, part why. But I think there's value in that, asking why. It's
I agree,
there's
man.
a sweet spot, and I actually think like a lot of the magic comes through not necessarily with high technical precision. Like I was talking about the drawing book, a lot of the magic of that people can put out is quick ideas or I don't know.
And just how it makes you feel, because I would look at, and again with like Sam's work, without trying to make a comparison between what he previously did and what he's doing now, but I would look at his work and I'm impressed. Part of it is the scale of it, where he's got some big pieces, but he's only really able to put those big pieces together because of the style that he's created now, right? If you were to do a size that big, so we're talking, let's call it 2 by 3 meters.
Yeah, pretty big.
Pretty big. And if it was going to be a hyper-real piece, that'll be painstaking, really painstaking. And it might not necessarily...
Might not even be the best piece.
It might not even be any better.
Yeah, totally.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's like, where are you going to... How are you going to take this creative energy and translate that into... And what's the output? How are you going to channel that? And I agree, man. There are a lot of hyper-real artists. And I think that there's a difference between having a creative element and having skill, because they're skilled. It's precision. But same again, like, I'm not sure why, other than to flex that skill.
Exactly. And that can be a trap for a lot of highly capable artists.
And that's also something that, like, I don't know, you tell me whether or not that you had to deal with this. I'm sure you would have, because looking at your paintings, that every little dot, every stroke was intentional. Would you have a degree of this, any like just perfectionism and trying to battle that?
Yeah.
Did you find it hard just to let go of?
It's all a battle. Like, I constantly would prefer to leave things, a lot of the time you really don't need that amount of detail to convey the same impact. And people have often said to me, like, try leaving things a little rougher, or just focus on a few areas that draw the eye in with real, that's where you concentrate your detail. And I keep trying, and I just like, nah, can't leave that. So the process is mostly just like, another friend of mine, Ash Coates, kind of said, like, people must think painting's so meditative, and it's like, a lot of the time it's not. It's making a lot of mistakes, constantly making mess, and then being really frustrated with that mess and just working it until you're not frustrated.
Yeah.
There's definitely meditative aspects as well. So that's not the constant process. But yeah, there's a lot of that. And when I do try and leave things a little underdone or just maybe more gestural or something, it's just, I don't know what it is in my brain. I'm just like, that's all I can see. Like, I just look at my works and see the mistakes. I've learned to shut up about that, because if you tell people about that, then they see the mistakes. There's no value to that.
I think yours struck a good balance between there was obviously a lot of detail, but a lot of that detail was also suggestive.
Hmm.
And dialing it back wouldn't have lost anything other than it's just not what you do.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
just not what I do. That's right.
It's like,
I know a lot of artists who do that, and that's what they should do. It looks good. Looks really good.
I've
If they
seen
overwork
hours
it,
of Bob Ross, right?
oh, me too.
So
That's my hangover cure, man. If ever I'm hungover, just Bob Ross. It's just like his soft voice.
Yeah.
just puts me to sleep.
Could you do your paintings like Bob Ross?
Oh man, I've often tried to do the Bob Ross challenge. Like, man, hats off to that guy. He does a 30-minute painting to completion every time. Like, it's a certain style, and a lot of it can be called like looking like op shop art maybe or something. But like he's
Entirely, but he owns that.
He's the king.
Before it was op shop art, it was
yeah,
Bob
exactly,
Ross art.
totally. But he's a mate to be able to do that and create textures in the mountains and the trees in 30 minutes. Like 30 minutes, I do nothing in 30 minutes. Absolutely, just faff about in the studio in 30 minutes. So
but it's more that like
I've watched enough that I think I know his technique pretty solid. Like I've watched hundreds of hours of Bob Ross, like you said. So
But
I know his technique, but I still don't think I could do it.
Have you tried?
Nah,
No.
but I want to.
But a lot of his technique is just there's so much finesse.
Yeah,
and it makes it look easy, but he leaves it to the delicacy and just the delicate stroke to create the textures.
Yeah, totally.
Like you can't press too hard, it can't be too light. But then it'll also be like he will do something and you're like, why the fuck, where's this going? And all of a sudden, like, oh my God.
Yeah,
okay.
there it is.
All right, wow. That looks real, but it's just purely suggestive.
Yeah. No, I love Bob. He's the best. Did you ever see that documentary that they made about him? I think it was on Netflix.
Oh, about his art and how
He just got completely screwed
Yeah,
over.
no, I don't want to see that.
I felt so bad. I was just like, oh, poor guy.
Yeah. And that was all of that kind of unraveled after he passed.
Yeah, kind of as he was on his way out.
Yeah, see, no.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
was
want
like,
to.
Damn. All the merch is like, don't buy the merch. But we want the merch.
Yeah, well, I looked up like how much does it cost to buy a Bob Ross original, and
they're all hidden.
They're
I
all
think.
gone. Yeah, just tucked.
They're all
away.
there, and like they're all just in storage somewhere because they're all owned, I think, by the company. And it's like, I don't know, they're not for sale. They're just hidden somewhere, not on show. One day they'll come out, but
one day they will. I'm kind of
it's
okay with that, only because I think that if you don't know what to do with it, let's just keep it together and just maintain the integrity.
I think the wrong people have it though. I think it's the people that screwed him over are the ones. Like they kind of they stole his name for like, not stole it, but like they kind of own the rights to his name, and his poor son he kind of got left out on his ass with it all. But anyway, poor old Bob. We love Bob.
He still has a legacy, and
yeah,
like when did he start doing that? We're talking in the 70s.
70s.
Do you know the 70s? You think about it, in my head, 70s is still 30 years ago.
Yeah, I know. I'm the same. Like I love the Doors, and like how old's the Doors now? It's like
60. They came out 60. It's like 60 years old.
It's timeless music, to think it was being made that long ago.
Yeah.
Incredible to think about.
I wonder whether or not we think it's timeless because that's like the nostalgia that we had, right? Like our parents they raised us on that music in the 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
Kind of music. So we get it. Like for us, it's old. But it's 60 years old now. That's old.
No, I think it is because I was thinking about this because a lot of music, not necessarily the Doors, but a lot of the music that they used to make, it was of a time where there was like, you had big studios putting big amounts of money, but like I think Sugar Man's a good example. Like that, they would put in a lot of money into an album, and they'd get like background orchestras or like strings for this part, and like Sugar Man made, the documentary Searching for Sugar Man.
Do not know.
I can't remember his name actually. People don't know. But yeah, he was an example of someone who was not particularly successful. Some great albums. They didn't go somewhere. Went massively famous in South Africa, I think. And then he kind of had his day.
It is ringing
like
a bell.
10 years ago or something. 10, 15 years ago, kind of all came back after this documentary. And he was like, he's just a tradie. He was just like gave up on his music career. But you listen to the music and it's so much was put into it. There's the songwriting, there's the instrumentals, but then there's all the layering of I think they call it like harmonics. Like there's a lot of different more like harmonics of different varieties of playing with the notes through organic sounds with instruments. And I think as time's gone on, the spectrum of harmonics, I hope I'm getting that word right, is reducing. So
to something a bit more formulated.
Yeah, but you're still getting the same musical notes, but it's much more like salt and pepper. It's like salt and sugar. It's like it's hitting those like dopamine receptors hard and fast, but the nuances aren't there with a lot of at least modern digital music. Of course, there's exceptions, but a lot of like pop music that you'd see now is very different to the Beatles, and I think it's the spectrum of complexity of the instruments involved.
Maybe there's definitely that. I think there's a lot more to it than that. I think that there is like an emphasis of quantity over quality as well. I think that they find that it's easier just to churn.
Yeah.
There's more money to be made through churn and getting more out there rather than just investing all their energy into one or a handful of artists. You're probably better off having a spread of hundreds and thousands and trying to cast a broader net out to the public.
Yeah. And if you can get every instrument in one little data pack rather than paying highly skilled professional player or a violinist or anything, why would you? if you're a production company. But anyway,
I was listening to. Have you heard of Hi-Fi Nation?
No,
you would love it. It's a podcast on philosophy, but they give modern day, I guess, examples of how these philosophical conundrums play. And one of them, the latest episode, I think it was just the latest series was largely based on digital media and digital technology.
Yep.
And one episode was on music and creating music and how with Google they have this AI, that Google have this AI model that can create, that they're now teaching it to create any music. That's it. Just type in your inputs and it will create music based around that, right?
Yeah.
It's almost like stock footage, but if you actually, have you mucked around with Midjourney at all?
Yeah, not for a long time.
Okay, so essentially
on its uprising, I was like, this is incredible.
Yep.
Now I'm like, stay away.
Yeah, so where it's at now would be the equivalent of where Midjourney was when it was early, right? So
yep.
Still pretty grotesque with the output.
Yep.
That it's able to provide, but it's kind of in that ballpark, right? So you could type in an era, the sound, and it'll be able to create something because it will have an accumulation of other examples and create some sort of mashup of it. It still can't create words, so it'll be like lorem ipsum, right? So the vocals would just be like a fever dream almost. That's actually the best way of describing that kind of music. But what was really cool is that it's able to now create music for things that weren't music. What I mean by that, an example was that you could get a Wikipedia explanation or description of, and they use Starry Nights, and input that into this language model, and it'll create a musical piece. So now you have one expression of whatever the Van Gogh's, I guess the essence of that painting, what he was trying to capture. If you can translate that into words, and then now you can translate that into music. So you have one creative essence that's now been able to be appreciated or expressed in different ways.
Different mediums.
Different mediums.
Yeah, everything.
So visual, and again, now we can just tie that back into your work, how you're saying that your work, that you use colors to express certain emotions and sentiments that you felt while in those environments, and you just enhance them and manipulate them to kind of, just to give it that creative flair. If you were to then if you could then translate that into words, or maybe at a certain point you might not even need to, I could just take an image of your paintings, give it to this music model, and then it will translate a song out of that.
Yeah. I mean, it's like when you talk about it like that, it's really, really exciting. Like
Mm.
parts of AI are really exciting, but oh man, I'm so anti-AI these days.
Anti-AI.
Yeah.
Well, it's
I want
hard
to pull the
escape.
plug. It's coming. It's here.
It's here.
There's no escaping it. That's not going to happen. I don't necessarily think it's good though. I just think it's I don't know. I'm very 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 pessimistic about AI.
Yeah.
these
Okay.
days,
I mean,
yeah.
that's probably
It is exciting though. Like the thing is, it's too good. Like it's awesome. I heard some AI track on the start of a podcast. It's on the start of I think the latest Duncan Trussell podcast. It's like this very end of the world bluesy track, and it was really fucking good. Like it was catchy. It was like very old bluesy. The lyrics were like profoundly like it was very dark about like where the world's going.
Oh.
But I was like, I listened to it a couple of times like this. I knew it was AI. But I was like, this is good. And I think that's the trap. That's the problem. It's like, it's too good. It is really good. It's too good. It's like, it will make us lazier. It will make us stop valuing things. It muddies the waters in so many ways, I think.
Yeah.
Like information intake these days. It's very...
It'll definitely muddy those waters for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think we're at that point, like the dead internet theory.
Yeah.
And I think we're
I
at
mean,
that
you're seeing that on Instagram with like I don't know what percentage of Instagram reels these days are AI, but you know we're like, who's making this? Is this even people anymore? Like, yeah, is that what you mean? By
I
that?
guess kind of that where like AI is only be able to feed off the information that AI has created, where the majority of the information available is AI generated.
Yeah,
and all we're doing is just regurgitating that same stuff. So I don't share that same pessimism.
Yeah,
I'm a bit more optimistic about that, probably ignorantly, maybe. So then I'm questioning my optimism, but
good to be optimistic.
it helps.
It definitely helps.
Well, look, I think it's when you're in the creative space, it makes sense to be, you know, to see things a bit dire. But I think if anything, man, like for your work, it'll help in many ways because like your work is great because you created it. If AI was to create one-for-ones of your work and have an exhibition, I'm not going. I'm not going.
Right.
I wouldn't give a shit.
Yeah.
I mean, like AI can do some incredible things, right? But if a human was to create something half as incredible as that, it seems more impressive.
For sure. I think we're going to have like a real cultural, like possible cultural movement of really valuing handmade things in the future.
Yeah.
I think they'll become more rare or more valuable.
Like in Blade Runner, how you get those like real pets as opposed to
I haven't seen Blade Runner for like
no, but like
10 years. But yeah,
how like everyone just had those replicant pets, and then like
right.
real pets were like contraband.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Totally.
so it would just be that.
Yeah,
so,
similar.
So your paintings might be worth squillions.
Hope so.
But you'll be dead by then.
Exactly, for sure. That's how it works. Those are the rules.
Yeah. So no, I'm a little bit more optimistic about it. I'm excited to see where it goes.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be. I got no idea.
Yeah. I'm not excited to see where it goes.
But then, like, I had a conversation with GT. You know GT Cell from Osher Gallery? Well,
no,
24/7
but I know people who know. Sorry, I think I saw. I haven't listened to the whole thing, but I saw some of the clips from your podcast. That was actually really interesting.
It was a really interesting conversation for many reasons.
That's some really, really good points just on the clips that I saw.
Yeah.
I'll definitely
give them one a go because he spoke on how the next generation of artists they've grown up strictly with digital means, right? And a lot of them have never even painted or used anything that was tactile or less tactile than an iPad, right? That'll probably be as close as they're going to get to feeling brush on canvas, or they may not have sculpted in a real life 3D form. They would have just used 3D modeling software, for example, to create 3D type stuff.
Yeah.
But then we have the next generation after them who are going to be raised on with AI. And what does that even mean? What does that even look like when you're being the tools at your disposal? Like, as in, like, for us, we were still in command of the tools, and we were still smarter than the tools we were using. But what does the next generation look like when they're not?
Yeah.
When the tools that you're using are
Not good.
far more intelligent than you.
Doesn't look good. At least in my outlook.
Well, when I frame it that way, yeah, no, it doesn't look particularly good.
No, but I just think it is it's like a Pandora's box. It's like, it's magic, you know. We've got this new magical thing, and it is kind of magic. But it's, I don't know, I think it's going to come at a cost. I don't think we've fully realized that yet. I think a lot of us have, but I think the world hasn't fully realized it yet. I was talking to someone about it. I'm just like, what are we doing? Like, why are we just accelerating this AI with no brakes at all? And he was saying, well, it's like an arms race, you know. If we don't do it, then the Chinese will do it. I mean, like, America or the West, or then the Chinese will do it, or the Russians will do it, and then you'll be left with your pants down. So there kind of is no stopping it. Like, even if you do want to put the pedals on it, if you stop innovating in this space, then other countries will, and then you'll be not knowing, well, power structures will not know how to navigate that. So it's like how everyone raced to make the biggest nuclear bomb. It's just like, what are we doing? It's like, well, if we don't make the nuclear bomb, they'll make the nuclear bomb, and we don't want to not have the nuclear bomb because, you know, so it's kind of escaped already. It's escaped our hands.
Jeez. Have you explored this much on your podcast?
The AI subjects? I've definitely had a few conversations about it, a few stoner chats. Two uninformed people speculating on the state of the world. So probably, but I don't think I've gone like crazy deep on it. I mean, when it first came out, I was like everyone. I was just like, this is exciting. This is fun. I did see like the risk of it getting in the way of, you know, lazy creative work, of people just relying on it to generate ideas. So I put some parameters on myself, but now I just don't touch it at all.
I kind of see it as similar to when Canva came out.
What's Canva?
Canva. So you would never have used it, right? So me as a designer, Canva is an online design tool that a layperson can jump on and really help them create stuff that's not bad, right? It's not offensive stuff, but it is very beige.
Right.
Very on trend. And I think that the initial reaction from a lot of more junior, mid-level designers was detrimental to the industry. I saw it as a massive positive because firstly, it gave a greater appreciation for design, where a lot of people that wouldn't have hired a graphic designer, that they would have gone off and done it themselves, can still go off and do it themselves, but the standard is now higher. That it will cut out a lot of people, a lot of the designers that follow trends and are pretty pedestrian with their work. They're gone. They're out of the equation now, right? Like the Etsy type designer, that kind of thing, right? Like, So what Canva has done is that it's elevated the floor. So anyone that was at this standard or below, you're not needed anymore.
Yeah, gotcha.
And what it's had to do was to really push the way that the creative designers thought and how you can intentionally, but part of it is like you have to intentionally kind of go against the grain anyway. So what Canva has done is that it has given the grain more prominence, which makes it easier for anyone above that standard to now stand out and to create work that is the antithesis of standard. And I think in many ways, AI is going to perpetuate that. If you have ideas as a creative person and you are able to execute with a degree of like tactility, I think that's important because AI at this moment is limited to just digital means. It'll eventually be able to create physical outputs, but the physical outputs are still going to be lacking a quality that only we can create. Because the thing about AI is that it is always going to give you an answer that is an amalgamation of best responses. And it's going to give you a polished response, but it's not really able to give you a wrong response. And in a lot of the things that we do, we're responding to something, right? And it's not necessarily the right way or the wrong way. It's just the way that we have chosen to go. Right. Your art is uniquely yours because of accumulation of all your experiences, and you've decided to do it this way. You're not doing it to try to please the masses. So you're not going for a shotgun approach. You're narrowing it all the way down to this point here, and that makes it your work. And you're going to be competing with an AI that is going to be more of an aggregate of an average. So if the average isn't good, then its aggregate isn't going to be very good either.
Right. Yeah.
That was a really long way of just saying that you'll be fine. Not even just you specifically, but I think that just a lot of the artists within, the same ilk, right? That have honed in on a particular a discipline, on a craft. Craftsmanship, I think, is going to be significantly greater appreciated.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah,
but also just like with the conversations that you have on your podcast, I think the beauty about that is, and I mentioned this, but it's just the array of people and how bizarre this world is.
Totally.
And, you really highlight that. I mean, probably not intentionally. It would just be out of curiosity, right? Like, there are some
curiosity,
really interesting people. I think you only have interesting people in your podcast.
try to. Yeah.
And that's not anything that can be replicated. I cannot imagine how that could be replicated.
Yeah, true. The weird side of society is definitely
of humanity.
A draw card always has been.
We forget that. We forget that, like, out of 8 billion people currently and maybe 8 billion people before, the odds of having something happen or having a particular archetype of person is pretty much guaranteed. Like, you could make up off the top of your head and that person would have existed at some point.
Exactly.
In history, right? And just to think that is not just a possibility, but it's probable.
Yeah.
And, just having opportunities to speak with people and just trying to actively find them and be like, dude, you have an interesting story. I really want to pick your brain.
Yeah.
And even checking out some bits and pieces that you've done, it's really kind of like put me in a position to think that to not accept this as just the way it is and to not be closed within a box, like that there's so many different ways and different possibilities things could just end up, right? Like
100%. Yeah.
Like I could just walk down the street one day and an anvil could drop on my head. Right? Not impossible, right? So just like quirkiness and oddball shit like that could happen. Or, just the idea of what was that lady you spoke with, the one that did the kids on the spectrum, the telekinesis.
Oh yeah, Kai Dickens from the telepathy tapes. Yeah.
So even just something like that, it's like I'm not going to dismiss this because I don't know enough. Full stop.
Yeah.
And why would I, like, with the information that I have, is it enough for me to put up a wall and saying that no, that something like that is impossible? Like, I can't.
Well, it's super easy to put up those walls, and I've definitely been guilty of that and probably still am guilty of that in some things. Like, I mean, if someone tells you Bigfoot exists, you're probably likely to be like, okay, cool. But, there's probably more of an interesting conversation to be like, well, prove me wrong. How did you come to that conclusion? I think that's the thing that, like, I like finding weird things that are jarring. And then you kind of work your way back. Or like, well, how did these people come to these conclusions? Like, what has led you to value this so high that this is like your identity, or whatever it may be.
Sometimes not even by choice, though.
Totally,
they just that is their identity because it's just who they are. Like that.
Yeah.
That I can't remember his name, but the guy that had the burns victim.
Yeah, Joe DeMeo.
Yeah. So just. Life circumstances had
put
put him in this position where he is just the person that he is now.
So yeah, he had a car accident. I think fell asleep at the wheel because he's doing late night shifts. Crashed his car set on fire, burnt. I can't remember 70% of his body or more, which usually kills you. Didn't. So he became the first ever person who had a successful face transplant and arm, I guess hand transplant from there down. So donor's hands, donor's face.
That's wild.
Insane. And like so inspiring to talk to someone who is dealt that kind of hand, and his outlook is just a lot more positive than a lot of people actually know. Like,
because I went on his Instagram.
Really blew me away. It was quite powerful just to like, I don't know, speak to someone who's gone through that and still just like, looking for the sunny side of life. And I think he actually just got married to a very beautiful girlfriend of his that he's been with for a long time, and just like living a very, seemingly from, afar from social media, it looks like he's living a very rich life. It's amazing.
Yeah, like I was saying that, I jumped on his social media and had a look that there was a period where he was just Joe, just living his life like how we live. And then there was a definitive moment where his life had changed.
Yeah, probably a really easy to avoid mistake. Like a lot of things in life that are change the course of your life. It's just a very simple, drop the ball for 2 seconds, half a second. Yeah.
And just like that, he's had to assume a whole completely new identity. And by that, I mean like his life circumstance had changed so dramatically that he was no longer ever going to be that same person that he was prior to that accident. And it's just those type of life experiences that it's so extreme, so absurd to think that it could happen, but it happens. And he's not the first. I mean, like the face transplant, the first.
Yeah.
But in terms of an accident like that, not the first. Not the first.
No, exactly. Yeah.
But I read this statistic that people that have suffered severe accidents like that, I think within 1 or 2 years that they just return to a baseline of normality, as in of happiness and joyfulness. And whereas there was actually, the study was two opposing ends: people that had accidents that rendered them paraplegic, and then on the other side was people that had won lottery tickets.
Right.
And they actually, for the most part, I think it was 80+%, end up worse off than not having won the lottery. Whereas people on the other side that had catastrophic accidents, after a couple of years, at a minimum baseline of happiness where they were, if not higher.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show that we're quite malleable. We are resilient in many ways. And some of the things that we think are going to be for the betterment end up being the detriment.
100%. Yeah. I mean, nothing really comes from, just like bathing in your comfort. Like, spoke to one friend of mine, his name's Sol. He does martial arts, ninjutsu, and he's also a therapist. But he was like, a lot of his message was really talking about the benefits of discomfort and how you actually grow. I mean, like literally muscle growth is like happens from like tearing your muscles, and then it like, it's discomfort. It actually somewhat damages them, and it forms and builds, and you get stronger and stronger. That's like a very obvious but very effective, like like a metaphor, whatever.
It is a metaphor, but also like quite literal.
But it's very very literal. But I mean, I'm fully guilty. Like so my friend Andy Ross, who I've interviewed, he's been on my podcast probably like 6 times actually, legend. But he, around the time when I interviewed Joe DeMeo, he got found out that he had this very rare, weird condition where basically all the blood vessels in his foot just like collapsed on themselves and he just died. So had to get a lower leg amputation, and exactly like life changing like that for out of nowhere. Lost a leg, and he used to be a pro skater. He's a very interesting guy, but he's way more fit than me. He's now got a prosthetic. He's got back on his skateboard and rolled around the bloody skate park a few times. He rides his bike frequently, gets up, does his exercises. Of course, he's got a very challenging new reality that he has to deal with. But like, I'm slowly getting a dad bod while he's 11 years older than me, and he's looking fit and tough, and it's in spite of all that. I guess the point is like the lying around on the couch, the comfortable way, which is it's comfortable, it's easy, it doesn't help anyone grow. I think you can apply that to kind of anything in life. Yeah, like learning new things can be uncomfortable, or putting yourself in situations you're not familiar with does allow your character to grow, or your physical strength to improve, or whatever it may be. So a lot of value in putting yourself in uncomfortable situations or tasks, for sure.
Dude, I've felt that exactly. That is like with this, I guess, the podcast, or just with a lot of things, where there was a plateau, and where the plateau came about, I didn't really know how to reconcile with it. It just felt like things were steady, things were kind of like just doing its thing, but then it was starting to dip a little bit because I was just doing the same thing. It was almost, I don't want to say monotonous, because every conversation I have brings different insights, and I value these conversations a lot.
Yeah.
But in terms of the social media and the media machine, there is a monotony in the processes and the methodology of things being done. But when I recognized that things were at a plateau, then that's when I was like, I didn't know I was there until I guess like just conversations with my wife. She's like, you got to try this, you got to try that. And then that's when I was like, oh, fuck, you know what? You're right. I've hit this plateau and things weren't energizing me the same way that they did.
Yeah.
And then that is that comfort, when you were sitting in that comfort, and when you're trying to create something, and you're trying to create something for the purpose of growth, there has to be a lot of shifting and a lot of movement, and a desire to not be comfortable.
Yeah.
And I think that you have to actively seek that out, especially when you're trying to do something.
You have to seek it out, which you don't want to.
It's like you're in this one spot now, and you're like, okay, I'm here. And I'm here because of all the steps I've taken to get here, and things have worked out. And now it's at the point where like, oh, I've actually got to move from here. I need to go, but which direction? Where am I going? It's like, and it really doesn't fucking matter which direction. You just got to choose a direction and just move in that direction.
Totally. You can get paralyzed from that as well, like not knowing which, and so you just don't do anything when any direction would be better than no direction.
Yeah.
So I've definitely felt like that kind of weird paralysis, and I've definitely felt that plateau. Like I think that's like probably one of my biggest fears is like being stagnant, just being stagnating, and just like going through the motions, and it's all just the same, like Groundhog Day kind of thing. So yeah, like at last exhibition I had, I just felt like, I just did the show, put so much time, so much energy into it. Show comes and goes. Post-exhibition blues sets in, which is super common for artists. And I was just like, this isn't working. Like, and this, at one point I was like, this is like annoying or frustrating, but it's just like, well, I kind of put like the weight of everything on it. I'm like, no, this is making you maybe not want to paint, and like if that's going to make you not want to paint, like you got to throw a spanner in the works to change everything. So like literally just like quit my gallery that I was represented from. They were like, what? They were really like confused by that, because there was no real reason. Like they didn't do anything wrong, or I was like, this, whatever the current situation isn't working for me, so I just need to change that, and I just need to like free up everything and like not have no expectations, which may have been a good thing or may have been a really stupid thing for my career. I still don't know. But just like that plateau or that stagnation, or not really knowing which direction to go, I just like sometimes just like creating some radical change, or just like sticking a stick in the spokes just to like, cool, what am I doing? Like you have to make space. Like new things don't always come. Sometimes you have to quit the job and have the open schedule before you fill it with something. I mean, that might be really bad advice. Like the smarter advice would be to like
fill the schedule.
Yeah, or no, but I mean, like if you've got a job that you're not happy in, and like maybe hunt for another job while you're doing that. But if you don't have any time to look for that new job because you're working constantly, and you don't have any time to figure out the new interest or what will actually fulfill you. Sometimes you just need to take that like leap of faith and quit the job and give up the salary and figure it out, because if your happiness level is just going down, that doesn't go anywhere good. So I don't know. That's how I've often. I mean, a smarter person would just manage their time better, and
yeah, they'd just be happy. They'll just be doing things that make them happy and having
or get off their phone and designate some time to actually like figure that out. But yeah,
change the metric of success.
It's all or nothing. It's all or nothing with me.
I hear you, man. I'm like right in the thick of that right now. So it's interesting to hear, like, it is such it's a thing that a lot of people, I don't want to even just limit it to people, independent creative people, because I don't think it is just that. I think there are a lot of people that are in that headspace, but have actively chosen to not step out. And I get it too, because when you're in it right now, I'm like, oh, this is pretty fucking uncomfortable. You know, it'd be really nice having a cushy job. Having a salary, yeah,
sure.
That's paying well, and someone just to tell me what to do, so I don't have to think about it myself, and I can go home and clock off and not have to think about anything else, and just hang out with family. And
I do miss that, to be like parts of that. What you're describing do sound really, really good as a freelancer. Like, freelancing is kind of pretty shit sometimes.
Yeah. Look, that's the thing, right?
It's also awesome in other ways.
Pick your heart. Pick your battles.
Yeah,
that's the direction that you want to go. But no, it is reassuring and refreshing just to be able to hear that, because like right now, like I'm in that, and I'm taking the steps in a direction to move things along in a certain way.
In terms of career or creative direction?
Like, it's just creative outputs. There is a lot of stagnation, but then I know a lot of it is just from trepidation and not wanting to take that particular leap. But just as an example, like, you know, because my background's in design, I like to be really meticulous with the work and be very considered with everything that is being done, and very strategic. So there's not a lot of stuff that's left to intuition.
Right.
And even with the paintings I'm trying to do, I spend way too much time trying to think about how am I going to develop a skill. Like, there's, you know, if I'm thinking in my head, like, I need to be able to figure out a particular taper in the gradients. So I'll sit there and analyze other people's work instead of just getting out there and doing it.
Yeah.
So the last piece that I did was more like, you're just going to freeball this. You're going to get out there and you're going to get your spray gun and you're going to start spraying, and whatever comes of it, comes of it. And I've never done that before.
Really? Yeah, nice.
Never. And it was more
great
like,
unknown. It's good.
Yeah. And it was like every stroke, then kind of every time I'd lay down some paint, I spent a bit of time thinking and just letting that kind of sit, and then thinking, okay, you did that. And it's like just with training wheels, essentially basically like just leaving it to intuition, but with training wheels. And every time I laid down some paint, I just let that sit, and then gave me an opportunity to think, okay, well, now what's the next one? It's like, this way, then this way. And eventually I was really happy with the way it turned out.
Nice.
But then after that, it was just an opportunity for me to reflect and think, okay, this is the things that you did right. These are the things that you can improve. And it was essentially just left up to not being just go and just paint.
Yeah, yeah.
And then it really freed me up a lot.
Perfect.
Awesome. And then it was that, like, if you want to use that as a metaphor, it was essentially just taking one step at a time, and then letting that step dictate where your next step is going to be. And I'm just trying to use that as a lesson with everything else, like with this podcast, with all the various practices that I'm trying to. And then even on a to narrow it even down, it's like, because there's this, I want to do that. I'm like, there's opportunity costs, right? So let's just have a look at these opportunity costs. And that's more or less how I've been trying to decide the steps, is not so much of what am I walking towards, but what am I having to give up?
Yeah.
So it's just a process of elimination.
Yeah. You mentioned, I did want to comment on, I think these are awesome. I love them on the kind of raw concrete as well. I think
thanks, man.
Beautiful set that you've created there, and the works are really beautiful. So, Yeah, no,
Thanks,
awesome.
man.
I was thinking that every time I see your clips on Instagram, like, yeah, really, really nice works.
I appreciate it, but like back to a comment that you made, I just see the flaws in there.
Oh man, but I think that's every artist, and I think we should see the flaws in our works. You know, that's how we strive to be better and not just like.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
I think the key is just learning to shut up about them and don't put that energy into another into a viewer. No. I mean, like, it's good to like talk about like but like, say if you're showing, like, I've had times where I've had a work in a show that probably wasn't my favorite, and I was self-conscious about that, so I wouldn't stop talking about that. And then some viewer might really like that work, and then if they hear that the artist doesn't like that work,
it's true.
They like, they question their own judgment, or maybe there's actually something in that work that speaks to them, or, you know, so it's like
100% right.
You know, once you finish it, it's not particularly yours anymore. It's everyone's to read and respond to. And
that's a great way of viewing your art. I think that's one of the things also that isn't considered enough, is that you create something, and when you put it out there, it is more or less public domain. You do own it.
Yeah, sure, yeah, for sure.
But you
and
don't
copyrights
anymore.
All that,
all that, right? From a tactile tangibility point of view, you own it until someone buys it. But my point is just that the essence of it is not yours anymore. You've put it out there. You've shared that. Someone else could take that and have it resonate with them. That feeling is theirs.
Yeah.
And that's their connection with that piece of work. And that's something that you have gifted to the world.
Totally. And other people might get inspired by that. And, you know,
that's the idea, right? That's the whole point of it.
And to pretend that we didn't come to the conclusions of our own work because we did exactly that, looked at heaps of other artists and were inspired, and, you know, took many of the parts that we love about this artist, and also,
not even just artists, but just all facets,
or experience,
all facets of life, right? Like you are just your output is just in a combination of all of it. And if not for everything that you have taken in, then none of this would have happened.
Yeah.
So speaking of plateaus, you've just finished off the Euphorica, just wrapped up just on the weekend.
Yep.
Massive success, and you was talking about the come down from all that. You know, you just battled a cold with that, which is, again,
got it
common.
In Queensland. Like, so just came back from Port Douglas on a vacation with the in-laws, and so sunny, and I just got like hit with the worst cold.
It happens all the time, you know, like just the how you physically just kind of let your guard down after just being tense that whole time.
Exactly, yeah.
But you're now clean slate because that was a big exhibition. How are you going to be maneuvering this next phase?
Yeah, well, kind of interesting because as we've discussed, I've just had a kid. You're a father, so maybe you can give me some tips. But, you know, like, I think stepping into not just like finishing. Oh, first of all, I'll say I would not recommend doing a solo exhibition with a newborn. My poor wife, she hasn't left me yet, but, you know, she's like, it's difficult when you have to spend a lot of time in the studio and there's a newborn at home. It's that was actually like one of my biggest like paranoias, I guess, about having a kid, is how much it would affect the art practice selfishly. But I think now it's just like, okay, well, it's not that you have to step away from art. You kind of have to double down. Like, this is what you're doing. This is what you've chosen. I'm coming up to 40, so it's like starting a new career path is a bit maybe silly. I don't know. So yeah, I think it's just like figuring out how I can sustainably keep making art. And I mean, thank God for the murals. The murals are my bread and butter, so I can actually make some money on getting some good sized mural jobs. The fine art practice in the studio, it's pretty, even if you have a very good outcome, it's still very difficult to compare to the hours you put into anything with the financial return. Of course, depends on the type of artist you are. Some people work a lot quicker. So yeah, I don't know. I think I'm just going to kind of keep going, focus on murals for a bit at the moment. I really want to get In Too Deep, the podcast, happening again, because I mean, I'm 2 episodes off 200. I gotta get to 200. But like, I really do enjoy it. You know, like it's a really great way, as you would know, to like meet people that really inspire you, that people that are really interest you, and it's changed the way I think many times. It's opened up opportunities creatively. And collaborations, which I value very highly. So I do definitely want to get back into that, but it is a little harder to justify the things that don't make any kind of money, or just time vacuums.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll get easier as like daycare becomes more of an option or things like that. But that will come back. But yeah, it's a transition period at the moment, reshuffling, seeing how I'm gonna manage and reprioritize a lot of different things.
Yeah, it is. In terms of advice,
Yeah, please.
Well, we could chat more about it after, because it's I guess just in summary is to not take any advice, because each experience is so unique that when I say each experience is like every kid is its own human being.
Yep.
Every household it brings its own dynamic to it all.
Mm.
But I suppose not as sage advice, but it is you're doing it right by giving yourself an opportunity just to take stock and take it in and take it all in, because it goes quick.
I've already noticed it.
Yeah, all the cliches are all right, man. Like you blink and then all of a sudden they're crawling, and then they're walking, and then they're talking. And it does happen really, really quick, especially when you talk about time vacuums and, you're in the studio and you put it down to you're in the studio, let's just call it, let's say 7 months, right? 8 months, whatever it may be. That 8-month period, so much happens in a child's life.
Yeah.
And, it could be if they were only 3 months old at the time, and then all of a sudden now they're a year old.
Totally.
So, yeah, just enjoy. Maybe this is one of the things about a plateau. Maybe that the plateau is there for you just to sit on the plateau. You don't need to always be trying to work your way up a peak. Sometimes you just need that plateau.
Yeah, or just find a different peak, and that peak's something like raising a child.
Yeah, exactly that.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's like the last thing you want to be is like absent, but we all still have to work. But it's weird when you're in the studio and you're painting and you don't see any financial return. Like painting a mural is like a trade. You decide on the price before the paint hits the wall, and that's what we're working for. Whereas painting in a studio is the opposite. You do all of the work and then you hope that you sell them. So like that's definitely been a thing that's been very, very at the forefront of my mind in terms of like, okay, well, how do I make this work? I think part of it is trying to figure out a way to paint faster. I think painting faster would be very beneficial, but yeah, I don't know, figuring it out. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. But
for now, Jack, Rowland, mate, thank you so much for jumping on.
No, thank you, man. You're doing an awesome job here. You're like a great radio voice, by the way. Very, very
Thanks, dude.
very good inquisitive questions that all the podcasts I've heard, and best looking podcast set going around.
Hey, man, I appreciate that, dude.
For sure. No, thank you, Wayne. Like really, really appreciate it.